Stop motion animation is a technique to take a picture and to move that picture slightly in some way, and then to keep repeating that process over and over again until you get an animation or you get movements. So as you can see, I've animated this ball to move up and down, and I did that with these slides here. So this was the slide that I started out with the boy and the basketball in one location, and then I moved the ball on the next slide. And the next slide I moved the ball down a little bit further, and then a little bit further, and so on. So let's do that process right now. Let's practice animating it. So there's a couple things that you need to know, a couple techniques in Google Slides that you need to know in order to move the ball. First thing you need to do is to know how to double click. So on a Chromebook, that's 2 fingers on the keypad, and that will allow you to duplicate the slide. If we move between these 2 slides, notice that the ball is not moving because we haven't changed its location on the second slide. Once we move the ball, we can go between the 2 slides and it looks like the ball is moving. So our goal right now is to have the guy dribble the ball once. So we want to bring the ball down to the floor and then back up to his hands. So we're going to, again, 2-finger click, duplicate slide, click on the basketball, move it down. Double click, duplicate slide, move the ball down. Double click, duplicate slide, move the ball down. And the good thing about stop motion animation models is it really makes you focus on where every piece of the puzzle is at the same time. So notice right now that the ball has basically hit the floor. So when we duplicate the slide and move the ball, we're not going to move it below where the floor would be. We're going to move it back up towards his hand. 2-finger click, duplicate slide, move the basketball up. Duplicate slide, click on the basketball, move it up. Duplicate slide, click on the basketball, move the ball up. The more slides that you include, the smoother the transition is going to be and the better the animation is going to look. So we have about 9 slides in this animation, and it looks pretty smooth, but this is a really simple task. What you're tasked to do for homework is to apply the same principles to model erosion of Niagara Falls. Now we learned that erosion is when you take a rock, or anything really, and move it from one location to the next. And what that means for Niagara Falls is it moves from its original location, 12,300 years ago, and it's going to move backwards up the Niagara River to Lake Erie. So how's that going to look? First thing we're going to do, as always, double click and duplicate the slide. So let's start up here. Your age, since when it moves, it's not going to be where it was 12,300 years ago. We're just going to label this past. I'm not going to make you calculate it based on the distance that it's moved. That'd be ridiculous. So then we're going to start and click on Niagara Falls. So this vertical line represents Niagara Falls. And we're going to move it backwards towards Lake Erie. So if we switch between slides, we can clearly see movements. But this part right here, that doesn't look good. So we're going to clean that up. So this horizontal black line represents the Niagara River above the falls. And so it's not going to extend out over the falls. We're going to move that back to where the falls is. This horizontal black line represents the Niagara River below Niagara Falls. So we're going to move that to the base of the falls. We're also going to move the arrow indicating the location of Niagara Falls and the word Niagara Falls itself. So that was 6 things that you had to change. We're going to duplicate the slide again. Move Niagara Falls, Move the arrow for Niagara Falls. Move the word Niagara Falls. And then we're going to adjust the river so it lines up with the top and the base of Niagara Falls. Best we can. So when we move through the slides, we see that Niagara Falls is in fact eroding along the Niagara River back towards Lake Erie. You would then begin by duplicating the slide again. I'm going to jump a little farther ahead. You probably want to add 1 or 2 slides in between this. So I'm going to move Niagara Falls all the way back to here. Adjust the river. Move the arrow. Move the name Niagara Falls. And then we're going to relabel the age as present. So we started off in the past 12,000 years ago, erode, till we reach the present condition of Niagara Falls and the Niagara River. Again, you're going to want to add 2 or 3 slides in between this, but I'm going to go and I'm going to move Niagara Falls all the way back now to Lake Erie. That's going to disappear. This is going to extend all the way over here. I'm going to move the arrow again. I'm going to move the name Niagara Falls. And then my age is whatever I calculated for day 3. So let's say you calculated how long it was going to take to be 24,320 years. That would be your end slide. So 24,300 years in the future, this is what the Niagara River, Lake Erie, and Niagara Falls is going to look like. All right? But again, between the past and the present slide, you're going to want to add 1 or 2. And between the present and future slide, you're going to want to add 2 or 3 more slides to that, so it doesn't look so jumpy. We want it to look like the basketball did, where it moves nice and slowly and doesn't seem to jump around a lot. Remember, the key is duplicating the slides and moving each of the pieces individually. I hope that clears up any questions that you have.